And we are live. I want to welcome Rachel Baker to my channel. Rachel Baker has a YouTube channel called, go right ahead.
Merciful Mornings.
Merciful Morning. And you have a website as well.
Mm-hmm. It's all the same, mercifulmornings.com. My email's mercifulmornings@gmail.com, all under that.
Very good. So mercifulmornings.com. I'm going to create a banner that says, is it www.mercifulmornings.com?
Yep. And there's a blog, there's a page of resources, there's a bunch of freebies, there's stuff about online teaching. So
did I spell that correctly? It looks good.
Merciful. Yeah, it looks great.
Okay, cool. All right. And then your Facebook group is called
Navigating Outschool.
Navigating Outschool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. So I'm gonna, excuse me a moment while okay, Navigating Outschool. So let me throw that up so that everybody can see it. There we go. Navigating Outschool on Facebook. So I've talked to a lot of people who most of them are VIP kid teachers who have said, yeah, I would love to work for Outschool, but what would I teach? How would I set up a class? What would I say? How would I write a curriculum? It just sounds too hard. So we both kind of have a similar idea of helping those people, right? Mm-hmm. So I've started interviewing Outschool teachers so people can see. I'm a visual auditory learner, so people can see with their eyes and ears that there are people just like them that are successful in Outschool, and it's not as hard as you think. And you are doing a similar thing. Can you tell me what it is that you're doing?
Yeah, so I did VIP Kid. I've been with them for over 3 years now. And I love that. I love it. But I had several friends who were looking for something that did not require a bachelor's degree.
Definitely.
Or that was not in the wee hours of the morning or night. Mm-hmm. And so on that search, I found Outschool. That's how I got started. And that was March of this year. So when I got going with that and I realized what was available with that to not just teachers, but really anybody, as a side income or a full-time job staying home, I dove headfirst into it. And I realized there are quite a few people who they have a passion, they have skills, they have expertise, and it may not be education, but they don't know how to turn that into curriculum. And I do have the education background. I do have curriculum production experience. And so I have kind of started a side business for people that apply with Outschool through me. I give a free coaching session for them. But I do have people that pay me now for coaching services for creating curriculum, creating their classes for Outschool. And I love it.
That's awesome.
I love it about as much as I love teaching the kids.
Yeah. That's kind of like my YouTube channel. I just barely got monetized, but I've been doing my YouTube channel 2.5 years. It hasn't been as much about the money as socializing or helping people or sharing ideas.
Yeah. So well, congratulations. That's exciting.
Woo! Yeah. That's why I started a new series. I was like, okay, now that I'm monetized, let me start taking YouTube seriously.
That's right. That's right. Get real with it.
Yeah. So I know some of the things I'm going to ask you, but I want to let our viewers know. What did you do before you were an online teacher?
So I've always been a teacher. That's just kind of my heart is teaching. But my background, my degrees are in early childhood special education. And so I did early intervention, developmental therapy. I did that for several years. And then I taught third grade for 5 years, which is night and day different from what I had been doing. Going from let's learn how to walk and talk and feed ourselves to let's do multiplication and novel studies. So I've done a broad range of teaching. And then at the end of that 5th year teaching, I had really awful health issues and got to where I could not stay in the classroom just physically. I was in and out of a wheelchair. And so I had to be home, but I still had to pay bills.
Yeah.
Still had to work, and I found VIP Kid and had a friend that I went to college with who I saw was doing it. I was like, okay, is this legit? Can I actually make real money doing this? Or because you see work from home and make $1 million.
Well, when I first, sorry to interrupt,
No,
when I first was looking for an online job, if you use Google, all you find is a ton of scams or a ton of just signing your email up for spam.
Yes.
And it wasn't until I asked in a mom's group on Facebook that somebody that actually worked for VIP Kid could tell me this is legitimate, this is real. And usually if you look companies up on YouTube, you'll find people saying this is a scam, this is bad or whatever. So when you look up VIP Kid on YouTube, you find a ton of people saying this is real, this is legitimate, this is a great job.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, that's a good sign, right?
Yes. Yeah, so I jumped in and did it, and she really helped me through the process of getting hired and everything. And once I got into it, I did not have that ESL background, but there's so much training available now that you can add that. And so I loved it. I have regular students now that I've had almost the whole time I've been teaching. Like we just go through all the levels, and it's so I love that. I have one that I think if I completely quit teaching, she would come find me. She would come over from China.
Or find you on Outschool.
Yeah, find me on Outschool, right? So I do love it. Since I'm doing Outschool as well, I've been cutting back those hours a little bit just because it's early.
Yeah.
And so I've cut back the hours, but I still have my regulars. So that's been nice.
That's awesome. Yeah. I was working mornings and evenings with VIP Kid, especially since our kids were off school. Now they're back to school. So a lot of those evening hours are gone. But my husband asked me to stop working evenings, and it was, he didn't have to tell me twice. It was just a lot. I have 4 little ones and stuff. So anyway, he didn't exactly want to get off work and watch the kids every night,
Yes, it's hard working and the parenting and the balance of it all.
So I'm teaching a few Spanish Outschool classes, and I'm going to be starting on Your Teachable Moment, teaching some of my subscriber friends from YouTube and friends from Facebook and stuff, whoever wants to take Spanish classes. So it's really cool.
That's awesome.
So when did you start with VIP Kid?
VIP Kid was the summer of 2017.
Wow.
So it's been, I just signed my 7th contract. It's been over 3 years now. Yeah.
Awesome. I've been since, I think, December 2017. So I was a few months after you. So
yeah, it was a good time to join. They were blowing up then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. It's crazy to think how big it is now compared to how it was, right?
Yes.
I was looking at this prop today. I made this prop. You remember how we used to teach so many classes that were about desk, computer, mouse, circle.
Just circle.
We don't even struggle over telling people. We don't even do that anymore.
No, and the kids would just sit there and do this.
Hit the ball. Hit the ball. Sorry. Well, I was looking, I made this prop back then, and that's what the old classroom used to look like, and the old dyno used to look like.
Yep.
Well, kind of funny looking at that, and that's what my hair used to look like in my classroom. It's interesting. It's flown by, but it's also been learned a lot during that time.
Learned a lot, yeah.
And made friends along the way online and everything. So, okay, so you still work for VIP Kid. You're just cutting back your hours. When did you start with Outschool?
Outschool, I started in March. I started really teaching probably in April, but I got in with them in March. But as soon as I got in, it was like, come on, everybody, let's all do this, because I knew so many people who could do that. And quite a few of the people that I coach now that, they'll find either my YouTube videos or whatever, they'll find me and say, hey, I want to do this, but I'm not a teacher. What do I do? Or I'm a teacher, but I usually have curriculum, and with copyright, we don't even need to get into copyright stuff today, but it's hard to
you can't like take it from a book.
Right. Yeah. And so trying to help people maneuver how to create a class, and even just like, here's your time frame. What age group do you want to teach? That kind of thing. So it's been fun.
What time of day to set your classes at, right?
Yes.
What price to start off at, right?
Yes. And there was one lady I was talking with. She has a legal background. She's been in law. She's worked in the police force. And so she's like, I'm not a teacher, but I love the idea of teaching these important things that I know to like teenagers. And one idea she had, she's like, driving law. And it was, right in the middle of everybody was quarantined at home. I said, kids can't take driver's ed right now. If you can teach a class on the laws of driving, you've got, and she was like, oh, what? So we just hashed that out logistically. What does that look like? And so I feel like anybody who has an interest in teaching kids, obviously not everyone wants to teach kids. That's not a thing for everybody. But if you have an interest in that and you have a skill or an expertise of some kind, you can turn that into a class.
I would say too that teaching online is easier than teaching like in a physical classroom with 30 students. So people that say, oh, I'm not a teacher, it's like, yeah, but you could tutor someone online. It's not as hard. It's just 30 minutes. Even if you have a kid that's behaving badly, it's just get through the 30 minutes and you're done with that.
That's right. That's one of the things I say. I can do anything.
Yeah.
I can do anything for 30 minutes.
Exactly. Very good. So now my next question is, it's a few in one. What classes have you taught, which have been successful or unsuccessful as far as booking them? What times of day have you done? What prices have you set? Let us know the details.
All the details. My Outschool details. Okay. So with my actual education background, that's where I focus, and younger. That's what I know, and it's what I love. So I started out with some younger classes. Well, my very first class was actually a writing class. I just kind of took from my third grade curriculum, and I did a creative writing class. And it's kind of, it's based on a book. Like we take a couple of snippets out of a book to get ideas, and then we brainstorm ideas, and then they create their own animal, kind of mashing two things together. They get to draw and create so I did a writing, and that was like that one's 8 to 10. And I will say, I'm going to share this because people need to know it doesn't have to be perfect when you first start. So my very first class listing, I had this great idea and I listed it as a one-time class, and the age range was too broad. I had it like 7 to 11, or because I thought, I can get more kids that way, right? But I had one of those older kids take it, and I just teach younger. And so one of the parent feedbacks I got, it was like 4 stars out of 5, and it was geared more towards younger kids. It was fine. She was like, it was a fine class. It's just younger. But instead of going, I'm a horrible teacher, I was like, okay, I can just change the age range, take that feedback and tweak it. And now it's a great class, it fits. And so that's what I try to tell teachers when they're like, I got 4 stars, or they said it was like, okay, well, take that and fix it. Make it better.
Well, real quick, I'm going to have you continue in just a second, but I wanted to say a note on that. As a parent, I have a different perspective because I've signed my kids up for a lot of Outschool classes. If my daughter's about to turn 6, but I see that the class is for 6 to 10 years old, I'm not likely to sign her up because I don't feel like she's going to learn well in a class with 10-year-olds. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind when you're setting your age range, like the perspective of the parent. And then another thing as the perspective of the parent is, I've signed my kids up for over a dozen classes, and I've never once looked at the star average of the teacher and been like, oh, I'm not going to sign up because they're a 4.5 star teacher. Because what I'm looking at what's the class about? What time is it? What age is it for? And what's the price? So that's more, for me at least, maybe some parents care about the stars. For me, I could care less about the stars because I know there's parents out there that are just going to be snooty and leave a 2-star because they're having a bummer day. And I'm not going to take it out on the parent and on the teacher and not book them. You know what I mean?
I had a 2-star rating from a parent because they had internet issues and couldn't access the class well. And so they left 2-star. I was like, I can't help that. Like, that's completely, but yeah, as a parent, I think the same thing. I've got, both of my kids have taken Outschool classes as well and loved them. And it's the same thing. Like I think about that age range. If it's that broad, you know, how's my 9-year-old going to do if there's a 13-year-old in the class? So that was another thing I realized, okay, that was too much. Bring it back in. So, but I do a lot of academic. I have some one-time math class. Like I teach greater than, less than, and equal for like first grade. I do that one. And then I have a few pre-K. They are some story time. Yes, girl. Hungry Alligator.
I use it for VIP Kid, but yeah.
I do. I use the Hungry Alligator. That's how we teach it. But I have pre-K. They're story times, but the purpose of the class is not let's read a story and be done. Like I have a class that's all about colors, or I'll have one that's all about construction vehicles, and we use different books, and we have a show and tell. And so I like those. Just because the kids get to talk and interact, and those younger ones, it's more about learning how to take turns, right? Because everybody wants to talk at the same time, and I have to say, I want to hear what everybody has to share, but you have to wait your turn, and it's so hard.
My kids have taken over a dozen classes, and I have a almost 6-year-old and a 4.5-year-old. And I see the perspective of kind of our VIP kid parents, or VIP kid parents, because I can't, no matter what I do, I can't keep my 4-year-old in a chair. But my almost 6-year-old, but it's that taking turns thing. They took a class where it was show and tell your pets and toys, and they had a pile of toys. They just wanted to show their teacher every single toy that they own. Yep. Okay, we have to let some of the other kids have a turn.
Yes. I had one little girl who literally, she didn't have them all to show. She just started like literally naming everything in her room. She's like, and I have a Minnie Mouse, and I have a pumpkin, and I have a book. And I was like, okay.
We could be here all day listening to you. Let's take turns.
Exactly.
My kids took Esther, my oldest, she's kind of kindergarten, first grade. She took a sight words bingo Pokemon class. So they spent most of the class doing the bingo game, learning the sight words. Then at the end, they let them show their Pokemon cards and their Pokemon toys and their Pokemon backpacks and talk about Pokemon. And I was like, it's a good thing she didn't start off with that, because they would never have played bingo.
Smart teacher, whoever you were, that was smart.
Yeah, so throwing that tip out there, if you want to have free talk at the end, not the beginning, because you don't want anybody to feel like you cut them off or whatever.
Yeah.
So what times of day and names of classes and prices have you?
Yeah, so I have to teach when my kids are in school. So my kids do go to school, although as of today, we were informed that there was a positive child near my child. So she just got home and is going to be home for 2 weeks quarantining. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So we're going to do school at home for 2 weeks. But normally they go to school, and that's my time to work. So I work before they get up with VIP Kid, and then I work while they're in school with Outschool, with my coaching, all that stuff. And so, you know, they recommend doing some in the evenings, some on the weekends. That's my family time, and that's priority. So I can't. Yeah. And so, yeah, maybe I would get better bookings if I did on some of my classes, but I will either keep trying different sections of a class and see if it books more, or if it's just really not booking, I just come up with a new class and see how that one does. And it's just kind of trial and error, time of year, seasons of life. You know, I've just seen ups and downs with all of them. Yeah. So they normally do book decently, and I've added 2 flex classes. One of them just started today. So I've included that.
What is a flex class?
A flex class is a whole other beast. it
you
is.
Show and tell, like flex what you have. No, okay. What's a flex class? Is it exercise?
So flexible classes, it basically means flexible schedule. Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
The flexible schedule classes. Yeah. So I have a live 5-week class on learning multiplication facts. And it's a fun, different way for kids that struggle with memorization, stories and pictures and things. And so I've taught that one live, and it was good. And it's just something that a lot of kids need. And so I created that flexible version. So it's still a 5-week class, but instead of saying we meet this time on this date each week, I say on Monday, here's week 1. Here are all the activities for week 1. Here are my pre-recorded lessons for week 1. Do them at your convenience, but be done with week 1 at the end of week 1 so that the next Monday you're ready for week 2.
So pre-recorded are videos?
So I teach the lesson still. So I may teach a lesson on, like we're starting with repeated addition. That's what multiplication is. And I do a lesson on that. So I try to keep them between 7 to 15 minutes, depending on what I'm teaching. But that way, instead of recording all of week 1 in one big long video, it's here's how we do 3 times 3. Here's how we do 4 times 8, separate videos. And I just put them unlisted in a YouTube playlist. So they can go through and watch them.
The next question. How do you connect it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Unlisted YouTube videos. And you can record in Zoom or using Loom or whatever you need to do. You upload it unlisted to YouTube. I know, it's amazing. And the best thing is you do it once. It's a lot of work on the front end because you've got to have the activities, printables, videos. You do it all on the front end. But once it's done, then if you open another section and more students join, you're just sharing links and PDFs at that point. And you have to communicate during the class, like answering questions in messages or on the Outschool classroom wall. And they can send you direct messages, things like that. But you're not saying at 9 a.m. on Friday, we're getting together and talking. You don't have to set off that time. So it's also really good for kids maybe who have special needs, who need to learn at a different pace, or who are uncomfortable on camera. If they don't want to meet like that, they can still take the class, get the lesson, but they're not in a live session with you. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so that's awesome. That is so awesome. I'm going to flip over to our comment section. We have Audrey is here, and so is Rebecca F. and Danny. And Audrey says, hello, Evelyn and Rachel. Look forward to hearing your thoughts about Outschool. Rebecca says, ironically, my husband found VIP Kid on Craigslist. YouTube kids.
It was funny.
Legit. Woohoo, 3 years. Congrats, Rachel.
Thank you.
Danny says, I'm a subscriber of her channel. I like the way she explains things on her channel. Yes, very good.
Thanks, Danny.
We're 3 subscribers away from reaching 300. So anyone that's interested, I linked her channel in the description box below. So I probably will go back and add mercifulmornings.com as well to the description box. So
great.
Yes.
Thanks.
And tell me one more time the name of your Facebook group.
Navigating Outschool. It is for people who are interested in Outschool or who are new teachers, and it's really just a good place to collaborate with other Outschool teachers on if you have questions on how to navigate the platform itself, how to list classes, how to get things approved. We've got some units in there of different videos different people have contributed as far as the types of classes that you can create and how to navigate the platform itself, tips and tricks just for teaching with parents, things like that. So it's grown. We're a little over 300 now, I think, which is fun.
Wow.
It's really neat.
We've got people on your Facebook group than your YouTube channel. Subscribe.
I'm definitely on Facebook more, probably. I interact with a lot of people through Facebook, and so it's a good way to find me.
That's awesome. And if people were to go to mercifulmornings.com, what sort of resources would they find there?
So I've got a blog that I post on once in a while to share, my YouTube videos, tips and tricks. Some of it's just life, mom life. I mean, that's a thing.
How old are your kids?
My daughter just turned 12 and started 7th grade. I'm distraught about it still, but it's fine. And then my son is 9.5. He's in 4th grade, and he is on the autism spectrum. He has high functioning. So that's a whole other aspect of life that we maneuver.
Wow.
So it's fun. They keep me busy and on my toes, for sure. For sure. But I do have I have the teaching online page that talks about VIP Kid and Outschool, gives you some details on how to apply. And then I've got a resources page. I have several free things. I have a free application checklist for Outschool that tells you exactly how to apply. I have a course creation template that's free, and it shows you like all the sections that are required when you put your class information into Outschool, what they're looking for. So that's all on there.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for letting me interview you. Before we go, is there anything you were wanting to say that you didn't get the chance to say in this video?
I can't imagine what it would be. I love what I do, and I love coaching, and I love hearing from people.
Before, when you talked about coaching, I thought that you were like a coach for like exercising or something. And then I watched some of your videos. I was like, no, she's coaching people about Outschool. Well, perfect person to interview, right?
Yeah, online teaching. I do it a lot for Outschool just because that is a platform I know really well now and can help people apply there. But just online teaching in general, turning those skills into classes, turning it into a curriculum where you can teach it. I love doing that.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much, Rachel, for letting me interview you today. And
thanks for asking me.
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you guys for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe to Merciful Mornings on YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you.